What's going on YouTube? Indiana James here. Today we're going over with a new news video for WoW. It's maintenance today, and I thought, well, what better thing to do than check out the news? And see, know I made one yesterday, but I'm making another one today because there's a few things that I may have missed. Right, first things first is the hot fixes May 8th, which was days ago, but I missed that. So the Abyss Anglers, they had an issue with the Anglers where some people weren't able to complete the achievement depth grease, which is cool, I guess. It's fine. Then did a few hot fixes here. Mistweaver, um, Magister's Terrace, Nexus Point, Xanus, and the Void Spire. Um, and then the quests, they fix this, the story of the Cauldron of Echoes and resolve an issue where players could be blocked from accepting rescue in the shadows. Just stuff like that. And they fixed the bug causing Wings of the Void to unintentionally appear in this spellbook. Okay. Um, all right. Well, I mean, they fixed that. Anyway, this is the big stuff I want to get into. Let's do this first. So they did some tank tuning today with their schedule maintenance. Blizzard feels that tanking has fallen behind their intentions of keeping up with with the incoming damage in Mythic Plus. Of course, that's Mythic Plus. I don't know if I agree that it should be just done across the board due to one way of the game being played, but let's see what they did. So they increased passive mitigation to broadly reduce damage for tank specs that underperform, increased uptime and effectiveness of some cooldowns. It should help underperforming specs to better cover periods of heavy damage. So they're hoping these changes help bridge the gap between tank specs, and we'll continue to monitor, of course. So Death Knight Blood got some stuff. We're looking at smoothing out damage intake for Blood. Um, Dancing Rune Weapon grants 25% parry was 20, Blood Fortification 40 stamina instead of 35. Death Strike healing increased to 15 was 5. Dance of Midnight grants Dancing Rune for 8 seconds was 6. And Dance of Midnight chance to proc increased to 12.5 and it was 10. So there's a little bit of a buff mitigation there. Demon Hunter Vengeance. Vengeance Demon Hunter's baseline defenses are what? Vengeance Demon Hunter's baseline defenses are its most lacking. While cooldown availability and values are currently serving the spec well. As a result, they will be performing targeting core values for healing and damage reduction, in addition to smaller increases, specifically to armor. Demonic wards now reduce all damage taken by 12. It was 8. Thick skin grants 55% stamina instead of 50. Effectiveness of mastery, fell blood increased by 20. Void Reaver will now cause uh, ferality, uh, frailty. Sorry, my gosh, I can't even read. Frailty to reduce damage taken by 5 was 4. I don't know why it's so hard to read that fucking thing. Getting old, people getting old. Paladin. With these changes, we're aiming to improve the baseline durability of prot paladins protection by increasing passive effects, which can contribute to effective health. They're also addressing on damage survivability with adjustments to defensive cooldown coverage and strength. Blood Blessing of the Dusk reduced damage taken by 20%, increasing your health decrease was 10%. Sorry, increasing your health decreases, it was 10. Sanctified Plates increased stamina by 7 and 15, it was 5 to 10. Argent Defender duration increased to 12, it was 8. Argent Defender now reduced damage taken by 30% and was 20. Sentinel duration increased to 20 seconds instead of 16. Prot Warrior. Protection melee damage mitigation is quite strong, but it is a bit behind for magical attacks and damage over time effects. These changes are aimed at strengthening those, as well as making it easier to maintain healthy ignore pain values. Fight through the flames reduces magic damage taken by 6. It was 4. Phalanx damage. Phalanx reduces damage enemies deal to you by 8 was 5, and ignore pain effectiveness increased by 8. Sorry about that. Oh boy, these allergies suck. So they're doing a few tank adjustments, and then there's this Guardian tuning, more so. Recent adjustments to Guardian have made Elun's chosen build stronger than intended. They're going to take steps to bring this back in line with realm restarts during schedule. So this week, Guardian Thrash direct damage reduced by 25. That's a lot. Elun's favored now heals 15 instead of for arcane damage dealt instead of 25. You recognize that the build in question avoids the Apex talent. With this tuning, we're choosing to not break the Elun's chosen build or require the Apex talent. We have further plans to update Guardian Apex talent in a future patch to give us more flexibility with it and alleviate some of the current pain points. So they updated Guardian a little bit of a nerf there to a certain spec. I don't play Guardian Druid, so yeah. All right, Invasion Point world bosses in patch 12.0.7. So I didn't see this yesterday. Players will explore new parts of old worlds that take take to the fight. The 2 new world bosses on normal and considerable more difficult heroic world tier. Nightall. Um, let's see. Greatly expanded since we last visited them in Legion. These worlds are a source of void assaults and Azeroth that players can explore, find new rares, treasures, collectibles, and even world bosses. Each features a short quest chain leading to a showdown with their leaders. Nexus Captain Lethier in Nigtal, and in Imperator Pertinax on the World of Val. Defeating either one of them on normal awards heroic tendencies. Achievement unlocking the heroic world here. Cool. While the worlds are interesting, the quests, rares, and bonus objectives are pretty standard, don't require elaboration. But the leaders are much more interesting, described as world bosses. They aren't present in the dungeon journal. Their quests recommend 15 players, and the drops are slightly better than the existing world bosses at 3 out of 6 champion, which increases to hero track on heroic world tier instead of dropping warbound gear. The items are entirely bind on equip and convert bind on equip. Really? And convert to warbound when used, allowing them to be bought. So wow, so you can like buy these things on that. Okay. Ooh, there's a wand. Cool. With Nightcall in duration this week, Nexus caps in something blah blah. Actual war boss needs to be defeated, but is joined by adjutant Murtai and the host of ethereal Hal Hardar troops. Man, you guys need to really. I'm getting tongue twisted by these frickin' weird ass names. Sorry. While traditional world bosses are at around 50 million health, these two only have 28 million on normal, and although they hit non-tanks quite hard, Vulgar player can defeat them with far less than the suggested 15 players. Definitely bring a tank or healer if you can, because they're pretty hard. Especially the additions or relentless arcane missiles that don't seem to respect aggro. That kind of sucks. Let's see. Don't worry though. The heroic world tier version of the fight is considerably more intimidating, with both bosses sharing a 76 million health pool. Like many enemies in the zone, they also feature their own random affixes to make the fight even more challenging. But now drop hero track gear to make up for it. Okay. So that's interesting to actually look at invasion stuff. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. All right. Why Valyria is a terrible tank. Midnight Delves Season 1. As players begin to cap out their Season 1 Delver's journey, which I have not, and take a look at the final challenge of this guy, many have had time to play around with the different roles. Valera's chick, while some are positive compared to the War Within's Delve companion brand Bronzebeard, one thing is certain, Valera is a terrible tank. It is uniformly agreed that Porcelain Blade Tip and Sacred Death are her best carrier options, regardless of the role. These options provide the highest damage output, allowing Valera to eliminate the threats before they can begin dealing significant damage. While her damage output is good or great, certain aspects of her tanking kit are lacking. First and foremost, as a tank, players would expect Valera to be able to hold threat, uh, preferably on multiple targets. In Delves, it is unlikely to pull individual enemies. So, Valera only holding threat on one mob at the time is a huge hindrance, which is true. In addition to not holding threat on multiple enemies, Valera's DPS role actually seems to be better at holding threat overall. One somewhat interesting mechanic of her tank role is the ability for non-healers to help regenerate HP through Cleansed Agony spell provided by Valera's Agony. Whenever Valera loses 25% of her health, an Agony NPC will spawn, and defeating this NPC will heal Valera for 8%. In theory, it seems like a great way to keep her tank up, but in reality, Agony NPCs take way too long to kill, or just an 8% for just 8% heal. In conclusion, everything that Valera can do in her tank role, she can do better in her DPS role. She deals more damage, which causes enemies focusing on her more, and she dies less often as well, leading to less downtime. Some ways that Blizzard could improve Valeria's role as a tank. Giving Valeria an AoE taunt, faster healing and more healing options for non-healing specs, and better defensive stats or abilities, allowing Valeria to take more damage before passing out. I agree. So 12.0.5 introduced ritual sites, which more or less act as delves, which is true, without a companion. These ritual sites generate orbs, spawn while in combat, healing the player for 15%. If that was added into the delves, that would be interesting to say the least. I think it'd be good for them to add that in if they were to add that into the delve. Like that's actually a really good idea. More heroic world tier details in past 12.0.7, how to unlock and more. Let's see, heroic world tiers returning. Okay, so we already went through that. Um, you must complete the achievement Hero Tendencies, which requires killing a world boss in either whatever Negtal or Val. Doing this unlocks the heroic world tier. Um, Oh, look, Heroic World Showdowns and Leading Remix is no joke. Here are the recommended item levels for each world tier. Normal is 219 and Heroic is 274. That's kind of crap. I don't think Heroic tier should be 274. I think it should be at least 260. Mm. So, besides just kind of item levels, they were more dangerous. Creatures can now have multiple affixes. More elites will patrol through the map, and a squad of powerful elites will hunt you as you do things in the showdown zones. Rewards are worth it for those looking to catch up, though. Rare mobs drop champion level gear, and world boss in area will drop hero piece. Okay, well that's interesting. Um, Patrol elites in the hunt system. One of the main dangers of the heroic world tier are powerful elites on the patrol map. These are shown in your map with the skull, um, Vignet, and do not drop anything worth noting. They are relatively easy to skip. They will eventually bring the fight to you. When you complete the tasks in showdown zones, you may notice a debuff that says stalked. As time this is as at the time disposing this is the only indication that you're being hunted. As you continue to complete tasks in the showdown zones, the debuff will change to hunted. This change means that anytime you are in combat, a patrol elite will ambush you, no matter where you are. That sucks. Once the ambushing elite is killed, the hidden stock debuff will reset. The debuff does go up fairly frequently, so it is an extra danger. So basically, it's a prey type situation. Okay. The affix system that we've seen in Legion Remix is returning. been greatly expanded, and mobs in heroic world tier now get buffed from a selection of 37 affixes. Okay. Um, so the highest number they've seen these affixes on is 4 mob. There are 4 achievements related to showdown affixes: power creep, cradle of power, absolute power, and power beyond measure. Each achievement requires defeating a number of creatures with affixes. Okay. Killing mobs with affixes does not give any extra rewards. That sucks, but they can drop arcane orbs. That'll increase your haste via astral acceleration. Hmm. So I'm not going to read every single one of these. I'll scroll over each of them for you guys. There we go. Heroic World Tier was an acclaimed feat. I hated Legion. I'm sorry. Like, I know that they try to, and it's fine to add those things, but they try to add things like I hate Legion. I hated Legion. I absolutely just cannot stand that expansion. I cannot stand it. Like, I just can't. Okay. Last chance to adopt Rufus. Tune in for MDI this week and more. So, I know I went over this a little bit yesterday. So the last chance to adopt Rufus is there. Mythic Dungeon International returns. I think we went over that. Yeah, and the groups are named all weird stuff. And then save for up to 50% on Burning Crusade Anniversary packs, which we went over. And a 30% on Classic Name Change Anniversary. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's it for the news now. Now that I've done those, servers should be back up here shortly, and I'll be in the game. I'm working on secret fish and where to find them. I have like 6 fish left. One of them I have to be in Mechagon, um, future Mechagon, which is kind of dumb, but they need to fix that. There needs to be a way to get there without using stupid Chromie. She only shows up once a week. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Like, subscribe into my channel down below. Let me continue doing this whole WoW thing, and we're gonna have fun. All right, guys. Thanks. Peace, y'all.